Give it up for Corr de Joch. All the way to the stage. All the way to the stage.
Hey, not gonna touch this. So I don't know if you can see this hole in my face. I got a little scar face going on here. Can you see it? Can you see it in the left? All right. So I had the insurance for just a minute, so I went to the dermatologist to ask him, like, am I supposed to have, like, freckles here now? And they're like, yeah, you're old. It's cool. But that thing on your face, you have this brown triangle on your face. We got to take that off. That's sun damage. This isn't a story about cancer risk. Don't worry. There's totally hardly anything to do with the rest of it. But they were like, we got to take that off. That's sun damage. And I said, no, that's fist damage. And they said, no, but trust me, I'm a doctor, that's sun damage. I was like, no, it happened at night. And it was, see, this whole side of my face was a black eye. And when it all finally healed up, this little brown diamond was still here. And that was from fists, a lot of them, over and over, all night. And there was no sun. Anyway, so they cut it off. They cut it off anyway. Now I have this whole... The reason why this happened, okay, so it was like 2007 or 8, I think, because of the hits to the head. It's hard to like pin it down, but so I was like trying to organize with this bunch of crazy people, activists and stuff, mountain justice. We were trying to stop the mountaintop removal. Didn't happen in North Carolina because we don't have coal here. So I had to travel out of state, go to Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia stuff. Anyway, we were trying to fix that stuff. And we kind of did. We hurt big coal and everything, but who cares? Because then fracking just comes in. That's what happens when you like fight dragons. Just be against stuff, something worse comes and takes over. So, oh well. Anyhow, we were doing this fundraiser on Pine Mountain. Now, Pine Mountain is a very long mountain. It's kind of all in Kentucky and Virginia and Tennessee and North Carolina, all along the border. And so I don't even know what state I was in that night. But we were doing this fundraiser, and they told us it was a little risky to try to throw a fundraiser and make inroads into the community on Pine Mountain, being outsiders and everything. And we're like, well, we're trying to make friends with the community. Anyway, so we threw this like 7 bands at this place, Wiley's Last Resort, this crazy people little place up there. You know the place. Anyway, and there's like a little man-made lake dammed in there and stuff, and we're, camped out there, and it was sort of our headquarters for a little bit, and we had all these bands, and the whole community came out. There was like hundreds of people that showed up, and everybody was so cool, and they all bought tickets and everything. There was probably some law there, but they didn't identify themselves, and they bought tickets. So cool, come on in, let's have a good time. And some moonshine did show up, and it was good moonshine. My Knoxville attorney had got a hold of some, and he passed it to me, and I had a little, because it was like, hey, this is a success already, enjoy some moonshine. And I fell over a log at one point while dancing, and my ex-girlfriend thought I fell in the fire, and she was totally humiliated and everything, and upset with me for that. But anyhow, so everybody bought tickets except for these 3 cats on 4-wheelers that came through the woods and were like crushing pills and snorting them and pounding cases of really crappy beer all night long. And at one point, they talked this college girl, this city girl that had come with us, into getting on the back of the 4-wheeler with them and going for a ride in the dark woods. And I didn't know about it, but one of the hippies, see, there was mostly hippies in this group, and I was like, involved trying to like be like, hey, let's be less hippies about all this, and maybe we could actually be more effective. Anyhow, one of the hippies was like, hey, since you're not into being hippies, maybe you can fix this. They're taking that girl who's a little drunk and a city girl and college girl on the 4-wheelers into the dark woods. You can't let them. I'm like, how come it's me that can't let them? And the hippies were surprisingly assertive about how I can't let them. And they shoved me out there. So I'm like, hey, hey, actually the way through the woods is the long way, and we're just gonna walk right down here, and we'll be at the destination. There's the fire and everything, and so why don't you walk down with us? And she was like, oh, well, I don't know. And they were like, she's riding with us. And I'm like, I really think maybe it would be better if you just walk down with us. We'll meet you guys when you make it back around. And they were like, really didn't like me after that. And I did talk her down. And so, and then later, that same guy that had her on the four-wheeler was screaming about how, like, I got Xanax, I got Oxycontin, I got every kind of pill. What I want mushrooms, I want acid, anything you got, mescaline. And I was like, hey, listen, so we're really not popular with the law, so it'd be cool during the fundraiser if we could, like, keep the loud drug deals real separate. And so he liked me a lot less after that. He drove away on his four-wheeler going, better watch out. And I'm like, okay. And so they hung out all night, and the party was great, and it was ending, and like everybody had brought like every kind of all their homegrown weed and everything. It was just this cloud of smoke over Pine Mountain, and everybody was happy, and it was huge success. But these three guys wouldn't leave, and they wouldn't quit snorting pills and pounding beers. And he kept like just trying to front me out and bowing up to me and stuff. And I was just playing dumb and be like, oh, I don't notice you a bit. And then like at 5 a.m, like we'd had like these two really sweet hippies that were like, one was named Flute, and they were like singing lullabies, trying to like put these people to sleep. But they're still pounding and snorting pills off their beer cases, and so it's getting worse, so it's like finally midnight. I mean, it's pre-dawn, like the moon's getting ready to set, and my Knoxville attorney, who's kind of Bushido, finally gives up and goes to sleep, and I wish he hadn't, because me and him could have took him, but he went to sleep, and pretty soon after that, they're getting on their four-wheelers. I'm like, yay, they're leaving. And I'm like looking at the sky like, all right, I can go to sleep. And I look back down, and the one that hated me the most is bowed up in my face doing the like rooster thing, like, boy, and he's got his jacket zipped all the way up, and he's like, you remember when you smarted off to me before? And I hear the voice of my friend Dennis Burton from Pike County, Kentucky, say in my head, break his nose. And I said, Dennis, I'm the organizer of a fundraiser trying to make inroads into the community. I can't just break his nose. And then instead I said, because I was really tired of all this and I'm fed up, I said, I didn't, you're mistaken. And I knew he was gonna hit me, and he hit me, and he hit me really hard because he could hit really hard. And he was like, he had at least 60 pounds on me, so he spun me around, and I guess the last of that moonshine jumped up in me, and I got real redneck too, because maybe I sort of come from redneck a little bit, and I said something like, you don't want this, you do not want this, and that was it. It was on, so they were like trading punches, and like I'm obviously the small one that's taking all the damage. But I managed to like hook an arm under his crotch, and like I swear all I meant to do was like throw him on the ground so he would be stunned, So I just threw him right there, but the problem was that the fire was right there. So to everybody watching, I threw this man into the fire, jumped on top of him in the fire, and tried to make him stay down. So my friends, the hippies, decide, oh, we'll grab our buddy, and they'll grab their buddy, and pulled me back and held me, and they pulled him out and threw him at me. So my friend is holding me while he's trying to kill me, and I had to turn back to my friend and say, do I have to fight you too? And he said, well, I guess not. And he let me go. And so we're trading punches, and I'm thinking, don't pick up a rock. Don't start kicking. This is a fist fight. Maybe we could keep it there. monkey brain stuff, you know, like let's make sense out of this. And every time I started getting the advantage, his friends, he'd yell, "Get him off me!" And his two friends, who were giant Frankenstein people, who were like a really tall Ray Christian size, like, okay, okay. Anyhow, and I'm really small, so they would hold me. And it got to where I had one on each arm, and they were just holding me for the other guy to just work out on me all night. That's how I got the whole touched it. Sorry. Anyway, and so I started to black out because all I could do was this back. So every time he got all the way in, he got close enough, I'd catch him in the cheekbone with like one knuckle, and that was what I had because they were holding me pretty good. And so what I learned is that the monkey brain doesn't fight that good. But when the monkey brain is beat into total unconsciousness, the lizard brain apparently is a lot better at it. Because I blacked out, don't remember anything from like, I can't do shit but this, to like, all of a sudden I'm running down the trail with this guy on my shoulder. Like, how did I get here? Well, way to go, lizard brain. And I threw him on his back. And I throw him on his back, and I'm like on him, and I'm trying to climb up him, and I'm rolling him so he can't get his balance. And I'm like, I'm doing good. This is going really good. And he's like, get him off me. And the giant glutes pick me up, and they throw me against this rock. And I believe they cracked my pelvis at that point. And I was too dumb to like lay there and play dead. I'm like, let's keep doing this until I'm dead. And then they threw me over the rock, which was over a cliff, bouncing 17 feet down rocks. And maybe that's when the pelvis broke. I'm not really sure. But I laid on the beach there by the little waterway, and I decided that I should run back up and keep fighting. But the hippies dragged me into the woods, and they were like, "Hey, let's lay in the woods." And I was like, "Okay." And then we found out that my ex-girlfriend, who was really pissed, was like trying to talk to these guys and talk them down. So I was like, okay, now they're fighting with the ex-girlfriend, so we got to go save her. And we run out there, and she runs back and like catches me, and she's like, we're going to hide in the woods. They're breaking the rakes and shovels to make spears to hunt and kill you. So we held each other down in the leaves for the rest of the night while four-wheelers drove up and down with spears looking to kill us. And she was like, I'm going to go talk to him. I'm like, if I'm not going to go talk to him, you're not going to. She was like, well, then I'm going to go talk to him. I'm not going to. So anyway, we did that all night. And I've never been back to Pine Mountain since. Thanks.